Envy is loud, but respect is silent. And chosen one, the silence around you speaks volumes. That's the kind of gut-punch truth your enemies choke on every single day. They can gossip, they can question, they can twist stories, but what they cannot do is deny the reality that the universe stamped something rare on you. Now imagine this for a moment. Chosen one, picture yourself walking into a room without trying, without forcing anything, and suddenly the air changes. Conversations slow down, people glance over their shoulders, and eyes lock onto you as if you're the only thing in focus, while the rest of the room blurs into the background. That's not an accident. That's not coincidence. That's the universe exposing what others tried to bury. Here's a fact that screams you are absolutely right about what you've been feeling. Psychologists say that humans can sense energy and intention within 7 seconds of noticing someone, but what you carry cannot be measured by seconds. It's instant, it's magnetic, it's something that sticks in the back of their minds long after you've walked away. And that's why all eyes are on you now. You don't even have to speak. Your very existence sets off alarms inside of people who don't even understand why they're triggered by you. They know you're different, but they can't explain it. They know you stand apart, but they can't put it into words. All they're left with is an obsession, watching, studying, wondering. And thank you, chosen one, for being here right now. Don't forget to pay this message back by simply pressing the like and subscribe button to help spread this message to more souls, because it's the responsibility of all of us to spread the light. And thank you, chosen one, for being part of this mission. You're not just listening, you're standing as part of a force. Now, back to the point. Chosen one, the reason every eye has turned toward you is because the universe doesn't allow rare energy to go unnoticed. You've probably noticed it yourself, how people can't help but stare, how their curiosity borders on obsession, and how your presence sparks emotions they can't control. Some feel inspired by you, others feel threatened by you. But the truth is, none of them can ignore you. And that's exactly what separates you from the rest. While they chase trends, while they try to fit into molds, you've been set apart, naturally, unshakably, without effort. Think about it. The spotlight that follows you is invisible, but its weight is undeniable. It's why even people who don't know your name still talk about you. It's why your smallest moves are magnified, why whispers turn into rumors, and why your silence screams louder than their noise. The irony is, they try to convince themselves that you're not special, yet their very obsession proves otherwise. They can't stop asking, why them? What makes them so different? And the answer is simple. You didn't choose this attention, it chose you. And here's where the power really lies. You aren't seeking validation, you aren't chasing approval, yet somehow you carry the kind of energy that bends the room toward you. People feel it in their chest, in their bones, even if they never admit it out loud. Some envy it, some fear it, but deep down they all recognize it. And chosen one, this recognition is the reason all eyes are on you now. It's not luck, it's not chance. It's the universe showing the world what they cannot deny. So the next time you catch someone staring, the next time you notice the quiet tension when you walk in, remember this. They're not watching because they hate you. They're watching because they can't ignore you. You are unforgettable, and their obsession is the loudest proof. Stick around, chosen one, because we're about to unravel exactly why this spotlight follows you everywhere you go, and why it will never, ever dim. So, chosen one, before we go any further, I want you to really ground yourself in this moment. You're not here by accident. You were pulled to this message because deep down you already know the truth. All eyes are on you for a reason. If you've ever felt the weight of those stares, the curiosity, the silent questions people throw your way, then this is your confirmation. And I promise you, if you stay with me until the very end, piece by piece, you'll understand why the spotlight refuses to leave you. Drop a comment with the number 777 if you can feel it, if you know the universe has placed you in the center where everyone is watching. That one word will let me know you're walking this path with me. And now, let's dive into it, step by step. Because trust me, chosen one, if you really are who you think you are, you'll feel that magnetic pull to keep listening until the very last word. This is where it all starts. Number 1, they can stare all they want, but they'll never crack your code. The enemy hates most what it cannot understand. That's the truth, chosen one. And right now, you are the living proof of it. You've become their obsession, not because you're loud, not because you're constantly showing off, but because no matter how long they stare, how much they gossip, or how many stories they invent, they still can't put their finger on you. You are their unsolvable riddle, their endless maze, their locked vault with no key. And that's what drives them crazy. Think about it. They've tried to watch you closely, follow your moves, and even imitate your steps. But every time they think they've figured you out, the universe flips the board. Just when they believe they know what makes you tick, you reveal another layer without even trying. It's like staring at a painting that seems to change colors every time the light hits it differently. They can look as long as they want, but they'll never truly grasp the depth of what they're seeing. That's what you are to them, something they can't box in, something their minds can't decode. And that burns them, because predictable people, they're everywhere, easy to read, easy to manipulate, easy to control. But you, chosen one, you don't play by those rules. You don't broadcast every thought. You don't rush to explain yourself. You don't perform for their approval. In a world addicted to oversharing, your silence is a weapon, your privacy a shield, and your depth a battlefield they'll never conquer. You live without exposing your whole soul, and to people who feed off gossip and weakness, that restraint feels like rejection. That's why they can't stand it. Now imagine this for a moment, chosen one. Picture someone holding a puzzle in their hands. They're convinced if they stare long enough they'll complete the picture, but every time they place a piece down, another one disappears. That frustration, that endless chase, is exactly what they feel about you. And the irony? You're not even trying. You're just existing. You're focused on your goals, your peace, your growth, while they're exhausting themselves trying to understand something that was never theirs to figure out. Here's a fact to stamp this in reality. Studies show humans are wired to fear and obsess over what they can't explain. The unknown triggers more anxiety than the known enemy, and you, chosen one, embody that unknown. You carry a depth, a quiet energy, a sense of mystery that no one can map. They may smile to your face, but behind closed doors they whisper, "What's really going on with them? What are they hiding? Why do they move like that?" They replay your words, overanalyze your actions, and still end up more confused than before. And let's be brutally honest, this eats at them. They want you to be simple, predictable, basic, like everyone else, because then they could control you, dismiss you, or put you in a category. But every attempt fails. Your silence is louder than their gossip. Your absence makes more noise than their presence. Your refusal to let them in becomes a mirror to their own emptiness. They want to reduce you, but instead they feel reduced by you. That's the gut punch. Chosen one, you haunt them by simply being you. You may wonder, why does my mystery bother them so much? Here's the answer: because people fear what reminds them of their own limits. You remind them they can't know everything, can't control everyone, can't reach every height. And nothing enrages the insecure more than realizing their eyes can't pierce through your walls. They'll label you cold, arrogant, distant, but the truth is, you're simply reserved. They'll call you strange, but deep down they admire your depth. They'll act like they don't care, but their obsession proves the opposite. Chosen one, this is your power. Let them talk. Let them guess. Let them burn up their energy trying to solve a puzzle that was never meant for their hands. While they're busy speculating, you're busy building. While they're stuck in curiosity, you're moving in purpose. And that's why they'll never win, because while their eyes are stuck on you, your eyes are locked on the future. Remember this quote: "Mystery isn't built, it's born." You didn't manufacture this aura. You didn't wake up one day and decide to be untouchable. The universe placed this energy on you, and now it follows you everywhere you go. That's why they stare. That's why they whisper. That's why they can't let go of you in their minds. You've become the storm they can't track, the ocean they can't measure, the fire they can't put out. So, chosen one, don't ever waste time explaining yourself to people who only want to dissect you, not understand you. Don't give away your layers to those who only want to tear them apart. Protect your depth, because it is the very thing that makes you unforgettable. You are not here to be figured out. You are here to live, to shine, to walk your path. And the irony is, the harder they try to box you in, the more the universe will remind them that you cannot be contained. Stay unshakable, stay unreadable, stay unapologetically you. Because the fact that they can't crack your code is the proof that you've already won. Their confusion is your confirmation. Their obsession is your evidence. And their failure to figure you out, that's the sweetest revenge of all. Number 2, they keep swinging at shadows, but you're not even in the ring. Competing with someone who isn't competing with you is the fastest way to lose your sanity. That's the bitter truth your enemies choke on every single day. Chosen one. They feel this gnawing urge to one-up you, to outshine you, to prove they're ahead of you, as if your existence alone is a scoreboard they need to climb. But here's the punchline: you're not even playing their game. You never signed up for their race, you never agreed to their rules, and you never cared for their trophies. They are chasing ghosts while you're creating galaxies. Now imagine this for a moment. Chosen one. Picture a runner sprinting full speed on a track, chest pounding, sweat flying, lungs screaming, only to realize there's no one else running beside them. That's what your enemies look like. They push themselves to exhaustion, glancing over at you, waiting for you to break a sweat. And yet you're sitting calmly on the sidelines, unbothered, sipping water, planning your next big move. Their race is with shadows, while your path is with purpose. And the irony: the harder they run, the further they fall behind, because you're not racing, you're rising. Quote it and let it sink in. Your lack of interest in competing is the competition they can't win. That's the paradox that eats them alive. They throw subtle digs, flaunt hollow achievements, or parade their fake victories just to bait you into reacting. But your silence, that silence is louder than applause. You refuse to clap for mediocrity, and you refuse to play in sandboxes when you're busy building mountains. To you, their noise is nothing more than static in the background. You might be asking yourself, why do they feel so threatened if I'm not even engaging? The answer is simple. People crave validation. Their worth depends on someone noticing, someone acknowledging, someone reacting. And when you, chosen one, don't feed that hunger, they spiral. They wanted your envy. They wanted your applause. They wanted your recognition. But your indifference reminds them of their insignificance. You don't just deny them a win, you deny them the very oxygen their ego breathes. Imagine this, chosen one. Think of a child building a sandcastle with all their might, proudly showing it off, expecting cheers. But when no one stops to admire it, when no one even looks their way, the castle suddenly feels meaningless. That's how they feel around you. Their attempts to outshine you crumble under the weight of your indifference. They may win in their eyes, but without your attention, it feels hollow, empty, and forgotten. Here's another truth that rattles their bones. Real power is proven not in how many battles you win, but in how many you refuse to fight. You've mastered the art of not engaging, and that unsettles them more than if you actually fought back. Because when you fight, at least they feel important. When you ignore, you expose their desperation. It's like throwing punches at air. No matter how hard they swing, they never land a hit. Let's be brutally clear. Your enemies don't want victory. They want your respect. They don't crave success itself. They crave you looking at them and saying, "You've beaten me," but you'll never say it, because you don't care enough to compete. You're not racing to prove you're better than them. You're racing to become better than you were yesterday, and that mindset terrifies them, because they're still stuck on you while you're already gone, evolving, ascending. Imagine this third metaphor, chosen one. A mountain stands tall, unmoved by storms, untouched by seasons. Winds may howl, lightning may strike, snow may bury, but the mountain doesn't flinch. That's you. Their storms of competition crash against your calm, but you remain rooted. And the longer they rage, the smaller they look compared to your stillness. Here's another gut punch quote for them. Comparison is the thief of joy, but against you it becomes the thief of their sanity. They're addicted to measuring themselves against you, yet every time they try, they feel smaller. They may flash their wins, but you're not clapping. They may throw shade, but you're not dimming. They may try to drag you into the pit, but you're standing on peaks too high for them to reach. You might wonder, why don't they just stop competing if it hurts them so much? The truth is, they can't. You've become their reference point, their unwanted mirror. Every success they have feels empty without your attention. Every failure feels bigger when compared to your calm. They don't just want to win, they want to win against you. And when you don't show up to the arena, their so-called victories collapse into ashes. Let's ground this in a fact. Studies in human psychology show that social comparison is one of the strongest forces shaping people's behavior. People measure their value not in isolation, but by stacking themselves against others. And when they stack themselves against you, chosen one, they always come up short because you're not even on the same scale. You're not climbing their ladder, you're building a whole different tower. Imagine this last metaphor. Think of a chess player who spends hours studying their opponent, preparing moves, rehearsing strategies, only to sit down at the table and realize the opponent never showed up. The game never began. That's your enemy's reality. They prepared, they plotted, they obsessed, but you never arrived. And so they're left swinging at empty chairs, raging at absence, humiliated by their own wasted energy. So here's your reminder, chosen one. You don't need to prove anything to people clawing for your attention. Your lack of engagement is the proof of your strength. Your refusal to compete is the ultimate competition they can't win. Let them sprint on empty tracks. Let them shout into the void. Let them keep swinging at shadows. Because while they drain themselves in a fight that never existed, you're busy building a life so untouchable, even their envy can't reach it. And that's the sweetest revenge of all. They'll never understand how you win every battle without ever lifting a sword. They'll never grasp how you defeat them without saying a word. And they'll never recover from the realization that all along they weren't competing with you. They were competing with their own emptiness. Number 3. You stay unshaken while they break apart. Chaos exposes the weak, but it crowns the unshakable. That's the gut-punch truth your enemies choke on when they see you, chosen one. When the storm hits, they expect you to fall apart, to scream, to crumble like they do. But instead, you stand still, calm, breathing steady while everything around you unravels. That calm isn't just peace, it's power. It's the kind of composure that rattles them because it reminds them of everything they don't have. Now imagine this for a moment, chosen one. Picture a burning building with people running wild, pushing, screaming, desperate to escape. In the middle of it all, there you are, walking steadily, eyes sharp, no panic in your steps. That image alone terrifies them, because while they scatter like broken glass, you move like unbreakable steel. They can't comprehend how you stay centered when the world tilts, and that mystery eats them alive. You might ask, why does my calm under pressure bother them so much? Here's the answer: because panic makes people predictable, but calm makes you untouchable. They wanted to see your cracks, your breaking points, your weakness exposed. Instead, they saw your strength sharpen under fire. It's like watching a diamond being pressed while they themselves are crumbling into dust. And deep down, it makes them wonder, what has this person been through? What do they know that I don't? Here's a fact that seals it. Studies show that calm leaders in crisis increase trust and influence in others, even without saying a word. That's you, chosen one. Your composure speaks louder than their panic ever could. You've earned that steadiness through scars, through nights that could have broken you, through storms that should have drowned you. And because you survived, you've learned what they never will. Panic is weakness, but control is victory. Quote it and keep it close. Storms don't scare mountains, they just wash the dirt off their surface. You are that mountain. You don't avoid chaos, you outlast it. You don't fight storms, you endure them until the skies clear. And when the dust settles, you're still standing, untouched, unforgettable. That's why all eyes are on you now, not because you panic like the rest, but because you don't. Your calm is their reminder that no matter how hard life shakes, you cannot be broken, and that truth will forever unsettle them. Number 4, they wait for your fall, but you keep defying gravity. Enemies don't pray for your downfall because they hate you. They pray for it because your rise exposes their weakness. That's the knife in their chest every time they watch you, chosen one. They wait in the shadows, whispering, smirking, hoping today will be the day you trip. They want to see you stumble because your progress shines a cruel light on their stagnation. If you fall, they get relief. If you rise, they're forced to face their own lack of movement, and that, for them, is unbearable. Now imagine this for a moment, chosen one. Picture a crowd gathered at the bottom of a mountain, pointing fingers and betting on when you'll slip. They watch you climb higher, gripping every rock, every ledge, expecting the inevitable fall. But instead of crashing down, you keep ascending, finding footholds they didn't see, pulling yourself higher while their eyes widen with disbelief. That's what your life looks like to them, an endless rise they can't comprehend. You might ask yourself, why does my comeback bother them so much? The answer is simple, because your resilience is a mirror reflecting their excuses. They see how you turn failures into stepping stones, how you treat setbacks as fuel, and it makes their comfort zones feel like cages. Every time you rise, their justifications for staying stuck lose power. They wanted to see you broken, but instead you became sharper, stronger, and more unstoppable than before. Here's a fact to stamp this in truth. Research shows that people admire resilience, but it also threatens those who avoid growth. Your bounce backs don't just inspire, they confront. You are living proof that failure is not the end, but the raw material for greatness, and that truth crushes their fragile illusions. Remember this quote, chosen one: "A fall doesn't bury you, it plants you. That's why you rise higher every single time. While they hoped you would sink, you sprouted. While they expected ashes, you became fire. And every comeback you make chips away at their false sense of superiority until they're left naked with their own mediocrity. So let them watch, let them whisper, let them smirk, because their eyes are glued not to your fall, but to the shock of your rise. And that's the part they'll never recover from. You were never built to stay down. You were built to rise beyond reach." Number 5. You command respect without ever begging for eyes. Attention fades, but respect lingers, and nothing burns your enemies more than realizing you own the one thing they can't fake. That's the gut punch, chosen one. While they shout, parade, and beg for eyes on them, you move differently. You don't need to chase the spotlight. It bends toward you naturally. Your aura doesn't scream for attention, it demands respect. And that difference is why they'll never forget you. Now imagine this for a moment. Chosen one. Picture a crowded room full of people talking over one another, each desperate to be heard. In the middle of all that noise, you walk in without saying a word, and suddenly the atmosphere shifts. Heads turn, conversations slow. It's not because you tried, it's because your energy commands it. That's the kind of presence that unsettles people, because it reminds them that real power is quiet, steady, and undeniable. You may wonder, why does my authenticity strike them so deeply? Here's the truth. Because your comfort in your own skin shines a spotlight on their discomfort in theirs. You are proof that strength doesn't need validation, that presence doesn't need performance. While they're chasing approval like scraps, you stand tall without asking for anything. And in that stillness, they're forced to look inward, to question their own insecurities, to face the gap between who they pretend to be and who they really are. Here's a fact that nails it down. Psychologists have found that people instinctively trust and respect authenticity, even if they can't articulate why. That's you, chosen one. You don't wear masks, you don't bend for approval, and people sense it on a level deeper than words. It unnerves some, inspires others, but either way, it makes you unforgettable. Remember this quote and carry it like armor. Respect is earned in silence, not shouted in noise. Your silence cuts deeper than their screams for validation. Your presence lasts longer than their desperate performance. And while they beg for claps that fade in seconds, the respect you command lingers in their memory like an echo they can't escape. So let them chase the spotlight, let them scream for eyes. You don't need to, because your aura doesn't ask, it demands, and that truth alone makes you untouchable. Number 6, your realness rips their masks to shreds. Nothing terrifies a pretender more than standing next to the real thing. That's the sting your enemies feel every time you walk in, chosen one. You don't even have to call them out. Your very presence does the exposing. Their polished charm, their rehearsed lines, their fake smiles, all of it cracks under the weight of your authenticity. You don't strip their masks off with your hands. You strip them off with your existence. Now imagine this for a moment, chosen one. Picture a room full of people in costume, playing their roles, rehearsing their scripts. Then you walk in, unmasked, unfiltered, unbothered. Suddenly, their costumes feel heavy, their lines sound hollow, and their entire act collapses under the weight of your reality. That's why some people feel uneasy around you, because you force them to see themselves without the safety of their disguises. You might ask, why does my authenticity disturb them so much? The answer is simple, because your truth reveals their lies. Your genuineness highlights their pretenses. And while some feel freed by it, others feel threatened, because their whole identity is built on the performance you expose. They can't keep up the charade in your presence. It melts, and they're left staring at themselves in a mirror they didn't ask for. Here's a fact that cements this. Psychologists say authenticity triggers both admiration and discomfort. People crave it, but it also makes them confront their own masks. That's your gift and your weapon, chosen one. You don't have to speak. You just show up as yourself, and suddenly the illusions people cling to start falling apart. Remember this quote, "The truth doesn't have to fight, it just has to stand." That's you. You don't argue with pretenders. You don't beg them to drop their act. You simply exist in your rawness, and their walls crumble on their own. Some will find relief in finally being seen, while others will run, exposed and embarrassed. Either way, they'll never forget you. That's the power you carry. You don't just walk into a room, you disrupt it. You don't just exist, you reset the atmosphere. You are the storm that washes away their illusions, leaving only what's real. And that chosen one is why they can't stop watching you. Number 7, you slip out of their grip and leave them powerless. Control only works on the weak. Try it on the strong, and you'll end up with empty hands. That's the wound you leave on manipulators, chosen one. They come at you with their usual tricks, gaslighting, guilt trips, silent treatments, expecting you to bend like everyone else. But instead of reacting, you do the one thing they can't handle. You walk away. No fight, no begging, no back and forth. You simply remove yourself. And that's what breaks them. Now imagine this for a moment, chosen one. Picture someone trying to clutch water in their fist. The harder they squeeze, the faster it slips away, dripping through every crack in their hand. That's exactly what it feels like when they try to hold you. Their need to dominate only accelerates their loss. By the time they realize it, you're already gone, leaving them with nothing but their own frustration. You might ask, why does my silence cut them deeper than any argument? The answer is because controllers thrive on reactions. They feed off resistance, off begging, off emotions they can twist. But when you deny them that fuel, their entire game collapses. They wanted a puppet, and instead they met a force. They wanted submission, and instead they met silence. That silence, chosen one, screams louder than any words ever could. Here's a fact that drives this point home. Psychologists agree that the greatest power in human relationships lies in the ability to walk away. The moment you make it clear that you will not stay where your respect is violated, you hold all the power. That's why your willingness to leave terrifies them. They know they can't chain you with manipulation, can't lure you with guilt, can't trap you with fear. You're free, and that freedom makes them powerless. Remember this quote, Boundaries aren't walls, they're doors you close when respect walks out. That's exactly how you live. You don't lock yourself in cages with manipulators. The moment they cross the line, you open the door and walk. And every step you take away from them is a reminder that they never had control. They only had your presence, and now they've lost it. So let them try, let them push, let them scheme, because in the end, chosen one, the harder they try to hold you, the faster they lose you. And nothing terrifies a controller more than realizing their strings don't reach you. You are untouchable because you are unshackled, and that truth is the one they'll never escape. Number 8. You are both the sword and the open hand. Strength without softness is cruelty, and vulnerability without strength is weakness. But chosen one, you carry both, and that's what terrifies them. You are the paradox they can't solve, the balance they can't replicate. Some days you are iron, unyielding, immovable, impossible to manipulate. Other days you are water, compassionate, empathetic, flowing with understanding. This duality confuses people because the world has taught them to categorize, strong or weak, open or closed. But you, chosen one, refuse to fit in either box. Now imagine this for a moment. Picture a sword glinting in the sun, sharp, intimidating, unbreakable, and then imagine the same hand that wields that sword reaching down to lift someone who's fallen, gentle, steady, offering comfort. That's you. And this contrast leaves people unsettled. They whisper, "How can someone be so tough and yet so tender?" They don't understand that real resilience is not about being untouchable. It's about knowing exactly when to be guarded and when to be open. You might wonder, why does this confuse them so much? Because people crave predictability. They want to know whether to fear you, admire you, or dismiss you. But your dual nature denies them that certainty. You can be unshakable one moment and deeply human the next. They can't pin you down, can't reduce you to a single label, and that mystery lingers in their minds long after you're gone. Here's a fact that proves your edge. Psychologists say that true emotional intelligence lies in adaptability, the ability to shift between vulnerability and strength as the moment demands. That's your gift. Where others either build walls too high to ever connect or tear down their defenses until they're fragile, you strike the balance, and that balance is power. Remember this quote: "A diamond is unbreakable, yet it is born from pressure." That's you, chosen one, strong enough to withstand storms, soft enough to shine. Your vulnerability doesn't weaken you. It makes your strength authentic. And your strength doesn't harden you. It makes your vulnerability safe. That duality is the reason people can't forget you. You are both the storm and the calm after it, the shield and the hand that heals. And because they can't predict which version of you they'll face, they can never control you. That's your edge. That's your power. And that's why all eyes will always remain on you. Number 9. You starve their approval games while feeding your own power. Take away validation, and most people starve. Take it away from you, chosen one, and you still thrive. That's the blow that rattles your enemies the most. In a world where people measure their worth in likes, claps, and shallow nods, you move like a ghost through their games, untouched, uninterested, unbothered. You don't beg for their applause, and you don't crumble under their silence. You carry a self-worth that isn't built on outside noise, but on an inner foundation no one can shake. And that independence drives them mad. Now imagine this for a moment. Chosen one. Picture a stage packed with performers, each one desperate for the loudest cheer, each one bending themselves just to keep the crowd's attention. Then there's you, backstage, calm, not even needing to step into the spotlight. And yet, the audience keeps glancing toward you, wondering, who's that? Why do they seem bigger than all of this? That's your life. You command presence without playing their games. You might ask, why do they get so angry at my indifference? Because people crave control through validation. They want you hooked on their praise, desperate for their approval, addicted to their recognition. But when you don't bite, when you stand firm whether they clap or boo, you shatter their illusion of power. Your self-contained worth exposes their dependence on external approval. They realize you don't need them, and that makes them obsess over needing you. Here's a fact that grounds this truth. Research shows that people who seek constant external validation suffer higher anxiety and less self-esteem, while those rooted in self-validation remain calmer and more resilient. That's you, chosen one. Their approval is optional, not oxygen. Their criticism is noise, not scripture. And that terrifies them because your independence highlights their chains. Remember this quote: "The loudest approval you'll ever need is the one you give yourself in silence." That's the anthem of your life. You don't beg for applause. You live in a way that even silence respects. Your self-worth is not a coin they can flip. It's not a game they can manipulate. It's a fortress that stands on its own. And that's why all eyes are on you, chosen one. Not because you ask for attention, but because you refuse to. You don't need them, yet somehow they can't stop needing you. And that imbalance will forever keep you untouchable. Number 10. Your silence is a cipher. They'll never break. Nothing eats at an enemy more than a mind they can't read. That's the knife twisting inside them every time they look at you, chosen one. They study your face, your moves, your words, hoping to decode you, but they always end up with more questions than answers. And that frustration burns, because in their world, people spill everything, thoughts, feelings, secrets, making themselves easy to predict, easy to control. But you guard your truth like a fortress, opening doors only when you decide. That mystery makes you unforgettable, and it makes them restless. Now imagine this for a moment. Picture a card player desperate to see your hand. They stare, analyze, try to read every twitch of your face, every movement of your eyes, but you reveal nothing. Meanwhile, they expose their own tells, their own desperation, until they've already lost the game without realizing you never even played. That's you, chosen one. You don't rush to show your cards, and it drives them insane. You might ask, why does my privacy disturb them so much? The answer is simple. Control thrives on predictability. If they can read you, they can plan against you. If they can predict you, they can trap you. But when you stay unreadable, you take that weapon out of their hands. They can't strategize against silence. They can't manipulate what they can't decode, and that leaves them powerless. Here's a fact that underscores your edge. Studies show humans feel more anxious around ambiguity than around known threats. You are that ambiguity, chosen one. Your silence, your restraint, your deliberate choice of what to reveal. It rattles them more than an open confrontation ever could. Remember this quote: "Mystery is not about hiding, it's about controlling the story." That's your power. You're not playing coy. You're not pretending. You're simply choosing. You decide what people see and when. And that control over your own narrative is what they hate most. So let them keep guessing, let them keep whispering, let them keep trying to read pages you've never written for them, because your mystery is the chain they can't break, the riddle they can't solve, and that's why they'll never forget you. Chosen one. Your silence isn't emptiness, it's power, and it's the power that will always keep you steps ahead while they choke on questions that have no answers. Number 11. They feel your purpose before you even speak. Nothing shakes the insecure more than standing next to someone who knows exactly why they're here. That's the gut punch your enemies swallow every time they cross paths with you, chosen one. Even in silence, your purpose radiates like heat from a flame. You don't drift like they do, tossed around by circumstances. You move with direction, like every step is tied to something bigger. And that unsettles them, because your very existence forces them to confront the emptiness of their own. Now imagine this for a moment. Picture a crowd of people wandering aimlessly in a fog, bumping into each other, moving in circles. And then, in the middle of them, you appear, walking steadily, eyes fixed on a path only you can see. They notice you instantly. They may not understand your destination, but they feel the weight of it. That steady movement makes them realize how lost they are, and that comparison gnaws at them. You might ask, why does my purpose intimidate them so much? The answer is simple, because people fear what exposes their lack of direction. Your sense of mission, your quiet drive, highlights their own stagnation. They see you as aligned, focused, grounded in something they can't name, and that triggers both envy and insecurity. They whisper, what is it they're chasing? What makes them so steady? But no matter how they ask, they can't duplicate what was never theirs. Here's a fact that locks this truth in place. Research shows that people who live with clear purpose experience greater resilience, confidence, and influence. That's exactly what others sense in you. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. And because most people live reactive lives, your intentional presence feels almost supernatural to them. Remember this quote, "Drifters fear the ones who walk with direction." That's you, chosen one. They can feel that you're not here to waste time. You're here to build, to evolve, to leave something that lasts. And that weight of purpose is the very thing that makes you unforgettable. So let them stare, let them whisper, let them envy, because the truth is, they don't need to understand your purpose to feel it. They already do, and it's that invisible pull, the undeniable sense that you're walking on a path bigger than their imagination, that will always keep their eyes locked on you. Number 12, you shake their identity just by standing in the room. Some people hate you not because you've done them wrong, but because you remind them of who they really are. That's the raw truth, chosen one. Your presence alone is disruptive. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to expose anyone publicly. You simply exist as yourself, and suddenly masks start cracking. You become the mirror they never asked for, the reflection they can't escape. You show them not just who they pretend to be, but who they're afraid they are underneath it all. Now imagine this for a moment. Picture someone dressed in layers of armor, polished and shiny, convincing the world they're untouchable. Then you walk in, and without touching them, pieces of that armor start to fall away. Not because you attacked, but because your authenticity makes their performance too heavy to carry. That's the kind of disruption you bring, effortless, undeniable, unshakable. You might wonder, why does just being myself unsettle them so much? The answer is because identity is fragile when it's built on illusion. They've spent years rehearsing roles, clinging to titles, hiding behind accomplishments, and then you show up, raw, real, unapologetic. And in that instant, their whole act feels flimsy. You don't have to expose their flaws. Your truth exposes their lies. Here's a fact that underlines this. Psychologists say that when people encounter someone authentic, it triggers self-reflection, often uncomfortable and unavoidable. That's what you carry, chosen one, the ability to spark reflection without even trying. Some will take it as inspiration, using it to grow. Others will take it as an attack, resenting you because you revealed what they wanted hidden. But either way, they're changed. Remember this quote: "The mirror doesn't lie, but it makes liars uncomfortable." That's exactly why you're unforgettable. You don't walk into rooms to be celebrated. You walk in and shift atmospheres. You break illusions without lifting a finger. You shake identities without saying a word. And that's the essence of being chosen. It's not about applause. It's about transformation. So let them squirm, let them resist, let them project their discomfort onto you, because whether they love you or despise you, the truth remains. They can't walk away from your presence unchanged. And that's why they'll never stop watching you. Chosen one. You're the mirror they fear and the reflection they can't escape. And so, chosen one, now you understand why all eyes are locked on you. It's not by accident, it's because you carry a presence, a purpose, and a power that cannot be ignored. Every stare, every whisper, every attempt to figure you out is proof that you're unforgettable. And thank you, chosen one, for walking this path with me. Don't forget to like this message, subscribe to stay connected, drop the number 777 in the comments to confirm your light, and share this with others so more souls can see the truth. You are the force they can't deny.